Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report for Thursday, May 21st, 2015. I'm your host, Alexander Kalafi, and today I am joined by Donald Terrio.
Hello.
Hello, and Zachary Miller.
Visual media.
Visual media indeed, Zachary Miller. What a show we got for you guys this week, because as of yesterday, there wasn't that much news. But thanks to some crazy, barely announced shit from today, we have a full show. And let's talk about some of those news stories. The biggest one for this week is that there is a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game coming, titled Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, which is a really worrying title, and I'll tell you why in a second. Basically, all they announced is that there's a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game coming early 2016 in Europe, winter 2015 in North America, which could mean like December or it could mean January 2016. It's a late year Pokemon game there, and then in Japan it's coming out in autumn. And they haven't really said much other than it's going to be a sweeping tale of adventure and mystery. Which, I mean, one of the great things about Mystery Dungeon has always been their story modes, surprisingly well written for the Pokemon series. And then it sounds like it's just going to be a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. But the title is really unlike other Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, which is really making me uncomfortable. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon sounds like the kind of thing they would title an eShop game or a free-to-play game. What do you guys think?
Well, we know it's not going to be a free-to-play game because if it was, it'd be coming out, I don't know, next week.
Right, yeah. It'd be a Nintendo Direct. Hey, it's this exciting game we got 3 weeks from now. Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a full retail game. I'm not really excited for it, but then again, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon kind of killed roguelikes for me in general. So I'm... But I do know somebody who literally spent 3 consecutive days playing Gates to Infinity, so I'm just going to give any copies I get to him.
Wait, so 72 total hours in his play log.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! I actually thought I played the shit out of that game, and I only broke 30 hours in Gates to Infinity.
It seems like an intervention is necessary at that point.
We've considered it.
Zach, didn't you play like 115 hours of Resident Evil Revelations?
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the 90 range. It is not a roguelike though, so I enjoy it.
Sure. I don't know, but Resident Evil is like a smaller game by design, and roguelikes are Japanese RPGs. At least this specific one is.
I reviewed a roguelike way back. It's like Izuma 2 or that chesty ninja girl on the DS. God, I hated that game.
What? Do you remember what it was called?
It's like Izumi 2, I think.
Or something like Legend of the Unemployed Ninja.
Yeah, Legend of the Unemployed Ninja
yeah.
may have been the first game.
Yeah.
Bad game.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon has always I've always had a sweet spot for this series. I've always been Izuna. Yeah, because Izuma is that's the soccer game on that was localized a year back or so. Yeah.
I hated that game. I hated that game so much.
So I'm sweet on Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I've always liked the character. I've always felt that out of all the Pokemon spin-offs, Mystery Dungeon has been the closest not stadium or mainline Pokemon game to adequately capture the Pokemon experience. Like, I feel like I'm actually playing a Pokemon game when I'm playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And Gates to Infinity, I thought was probably my favorite one mechanically of that series. The problem was that there were only like 150 total monsters in that entire game, and it was like mostly Gen 5, and then I think 50 total monsters from like Gens 1 through 4. But they streamlined the mechanics, they made everything a lot easier to understand, and I think they made the game way more fun. So if they make another Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game and it's a full-featured one, I will be there day one, $40 guaranteed.
Okay, so
I
you can
mean,
have the review copy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously, the best Pokemon game that's not a mainline Pokemon game. It's not Pokemon Snap. It's the Pikachu's Adventure on Wii. Pokepark.
Well,
Pokepark 1.
no one's saying anything about the best Pokemon spin-off. I'm just saying the one that most
Oh,
adequately
okay.
captures the Pokemon experience. And
I see. Okay.
I felt like Mystery Dungeon captured the Pokemon experience better than I would even say XD and Coliseum. But maybe that's just me.
So, do we think this is going to delay the next set of mainline Pokemon RPGs, though?
It won't delay it. I'm guessing that there might not have been one for 2015 to begin with. Now that this was announced,
Yeah.
because that's to say, if there was a Pokemon game ready for 2015, this wouldn't stop it. In fact, this would probably move out of the way, if anything else. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon would probably be an early 2016 title, and it still could be for North America. There's still a chance this could be February 2016, and then a Pokemon game could be this fall. But I think this announcement tells me this is what we're getting instead of a mainline Pokemon game this year.
Yeah, I'm still holding out for possibly at the World Championships an announcement of what the next game will be and set it for February 27th, which is the 20th anniversary and also happens to be a Saturday next year.
I think, it's okay. That's actually that makes sense then. February. They wouldn't. So you're thinking the mainline Pokemon game is going to come out next February?
Right.
Okay.
And they announced it at the Worlds. They announced there's a Battle Frontier, and with the crowd that they have there, it makes the Twilight Princess reaction look tame.
I don't know if that'll happen. That audience reaction video and that audience reaction specifically in general is legendary. It would have to be a specific type of Pokemon game to get people to go absolutely insane. It would have to be something that would either be the first console like Pokemon RPG, or it would be the Pokemon game that has all the regions, or it would be a properly done remake of Generation 1, or it would have to be something that would tug at nostalgia or be something that people have asked for years. I don't think Zygarde or a Battle Frontier would do it. It wouldn't be that big. Twilight Princess, not Twilight Princess as it actually came out, but Twilight Princess as it was initially sold to people in E3
Twilight
2004
Princess,
5.
as we all believed it would be.
Yes, it would take something real special for it to get to that level, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh boy, I don't know. You know what? It's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is a crazy series because depending on the person you ask, there are people like your friend Donald who rack up 72 hours. There are people like me who are in the middle but still into it who will rack up a good 20 to 30. And then you got people like James Jones who I think gave like Explorers of Sky or Explorers of Time and Darkness like a 3.5 or something.
It was
Yeah.
I think it was a 4.5 because when I actually looked that review up before I did the Attack on Titan review for NWR.
It gave you those feelings specifically?
Yeah, I was wondering because I knew it was legendary for a low score. It turned out to be way higher than I thought.
Yeah. 4.5. But yeah, like it's very much a series that like there are people who love the heck out of it, and then there are people who really, really despise it. So it's very love it or hate it. I'm actually looking forward to. It's a roguelike, which is one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to trying the Etrian Odyssey Mystery Dungeon sooner or later, because I ended up getting a code for that, and I hear it's way more like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games than the Etrian Odyssey games, which is really appealing.
I believe that ex-newscaster and friend of the show, Nathan Mustafa, is a huge roguelike fan.
Hmm.
I wonder if he's got a lot of mystery dungeon experience.
I bet he would. Actually, thinking, yeah, he probably would out of anyone. Uh, yeah, I think the release date will say a lot. If I bet there's going to be some kind of trailer at the digital event or some kind of press release or something for this game. Like it seems like something that where they'll tease it just a little, especially if they don't have an especially huge 3DS lineup, and by then we'll probably know whether this is coming out in 2015 or 2016, if not a couple months down the line.
I can
Yeah.
see it being fodder for the press kit, but we do know that Nintendo likes to release games the first week of December, so just a couple weeks after Thanksgiving. So I could see it like December 4th.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I agree. I agree. There we go. Moving on to new releases. There's a couple interesting stuff. The one of the classic EDF games, like before Earth Defense Force, as we know it now, but one of the super old ones comes out on the eShop this week, and then we got a new Natsume sale, which includes some real good deals on the Harvest Moon games. I think a couple of them on 3DS, like one of them's $10. I think that's the first one that was also on DS, and then a New Beginning
Hmm.
is $20. I think. And a new beginning at $20 is not unreasonable.
Yumi's Odd Odyssey is also $10 this week, but I think really the biggest release is the Swapnote 3DS theme.
Right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that and I laughed at that. Yeah.
for it seems it's funny when Nintendo like blatantly markets to waifu fans.
Uh,
I I actually bought it minute one just because I want Swapnote to come back because I was one of the 1% of the population who actually used it.
I used it every day.
Yeah, Zach, you took pictures of everything you bought and sent it over Swapnote.
I did.
Yeah,
Took a
there you
half
go.
hour to download all your notes, 30 at a time. God, it was so great.
It really was the new era PictoChat in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but the thing I really want to talk about is Puzzle and Dragons Z, Puzzle and Dragons Mario Edition Double Pack, which I'm so excited to talk about because we have the Nintendo World Report reviewer right here. Zach,
Yes.
tell me
Hello.
all about Puzzle and Dragons Z and Puzzle and Dragons Super Mario Edition.
Uh, well, it's more Puzzle and Dragons than you ever need.
Hmm.
And it's not free to play. So that's great. Um, uh, but they're both the same game. They're exactly the same. They just use different terminologies. Like you evolve monsters like Pokemon and Puzzle and Dragon Z, whereas you know upgrade your characters, your party members in the Mario game. And whereas the Puzzle and Dragons monsters become significantly more cool, the Mario monsters get lamer. You go from a
How?
Goomba. Well, for example, you go from a Goomba to two Goombas stacked on top of each other.
Mm.
Or you go from a Koopa to a Paracoopa to a big Paracoopa. There's just not a lot of room to move in the Mario series when it comes to evolving your characters. But so the big deal with this Puzzle and Dragons, and I hadn't really fully digested this when I got the review. I don't play a lot of Match 3 games. Is it's a straight up RPG with type advantages and a party, and you have to pay attention to what kind of gems are on a given board, because if you have a party member, if you have a dark type party member, for example, and there are no dark type gems on the board, he's just not doing anything. So you
Mm.
have to pay attention to that, and you have to not only that, but you have to pay attention to what enemy types are going to be on a particular course or a stage, so that you can, use Pokemon and Mario characters that are going to work against those types. It's a good game. It really is. It just the RPG stuff. It really gets old really fast because it gets to the point where you're editing your team between every stage. Just let me get to the bejeweling. Don't make me do all this RPG crap all the time.
Well, it sounded a lot like, and I read a few reviews for this, including yours. It sounded like a lot of people really liked the Mario Edition one, that they thought it was a straightforward, extremely well polished game, and they thought that Z like started with good intentions, but like fell apart as it went along. Is the impression I kind of got.
Z is a straight up like Pokemon-esque RPG with an overworld and characters talking to each other and quests and a story and cutscenes and shit you want to look at because you want to play Puzzle and Dragons. You don't want to do all this crap.
And it's not.
And they're like, no, it's not. It's stupid. I mean, it's very punny.
Okay.
It's in no way serious, but it's all, and the character art is bad. I'm just going to say it. The character art is shitty. Pokemon has better character portraits in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mario game there's no story. It's just New Super Mario Brothers. Toad says, oh shit, Princess Peach got kidnapped. Gotta save her. And there you go. There's no story at all. You just move from stage to stage, editing your party in between.
So Bowser has time to kidnap the princess again when he's not working in marketing at Nintendo?
That had to come up at some point. I'm glad you were the one who stuck that in there.
Yeah. But I'm not really one to talk, considering I have it downloaded now, and I'm just waiting for, in my case, 1 o'clock in the morning so I can actually finish getting it. Because when you say that
so you pre-ordered it.
Yeah. Well, I pre-ordered it this morning. But when you tell me that it's a Pokemon puzzle game, and I'm one of the comparatively few people who actually enjoyed Puzzle Quest 2, yeah, that's pretty much right up my alley.
Oh. Yeah, it does. It is a little like Puzzle Quest. You'll get a lot out of it if you like that kind of game, Donald. But I'm getting a lot out of the Mario game. I'm getting kind of sick of... Here's the thing I don't like about the game. One thing I don't like. Two things. One is you're constantly grinding for items to upgrade your shit. Both your characters and your skills, your special abilities. You have to go back through levels that you know has like a Goomba coin and play through the whole thing to get a Goomba coin. But also, if you get a shitty board, it doesn't matter how well your team is balanced if the gems aren't showing up that you need. You'll get to these treasure chests where it says clear 5 blue gems in one combo, and there would be like one water gem on the screen. There's nothing you can do about it. That kind of stuff pisses me off.
Mm-hmm. And then
sometimes you'll lose a stage because you're just not getting combos. The board's just not giving you any combos.
How about the difficulty? Is because that was one of the things that I was worried about, was because one of the things that bothers me about the Puzzle and Dragons mobile version is that it's become way too easy because of the whole partner mechanic, how you can bring a character in that another player has at any given time. So like you might be running a level 2 team fighting a level 2 enemy, but everyone has been playing this game for years, so every single partner character you can bring in is like level 30. And some people don't know what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm talking about. And that's something that makes the game real easy. Is that a huge issue here too?
Well, this game, for example, there's a whole bunch of leader characters or helper characters is what you're talking about, who you can select from. And they level up naturally with the rest of your party. But this game will have both Puzzle Dragon Z and Puzzle and Koopas will have Street Pass functionality where you can pull in helpers from their characters. So kind of like what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So if I meet Donald on the street and he's been playing the hell out of this game, he's got a level 30, Raccoon Mario, who is an actual helper character, he can bust my game. I mean, he can break the game and I'll win all the time. But within the game, if you don't use Street Pass, your helpers are just naturally leveling up when they're a part of your party. But I will say that Puzzle and Dragons Z is much easier. The difficulty curve is much, it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Puzzle and Koopas, it's like that.
And once it gets to the high difficulty, does it stay there?
Yeah, it's been staying there for me. I'm in the third world in both games, and Puzzle and Dragon Z I can almost sleepwalk through, and Puzzle and Koopas I'm constantly editing my teams. And that kind of pisses me off because I spend a lot of time on that. And then if you get a bad board, you're just fucked.
Okay. Well,
Screwed?
that sounds great. It's no, yeah. Both are appropriate. That sounds good. That sounds good. I'm probably gonna get that in the next couple weeks. I got a one of those Best Buy $10 credits because I pre-ordered some game. So like you get $10 whenever you pre-order any game with the My Best Buy Club or whatever. So like that. I'll end up getting this game for like $15 in a couple weeks, which is real nice. And that sounds like a good price for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the news. Hatsune Miku Project Mirai DX delayed outside of Japan. Because it would be coming out in 4 days otherwise. It would have been coming out on May like 25th, I think. But like just a day or two ago, it was announced that it was coming out September 8th in North America and September 11th in Europe. And all versions of the game will come with 19 double-sided AR cards containing the Vocaloid characters. North America will receive a Miku-themed wallet strap with all first-run copies, which makes up completely for a 4-month delay.
I'm not even sure why this game was going to come out next week to begin with. It's not even out in Japan yet. And in what universe is Japan going to get a Hatsune Miku game last?
Yeah.
True.
This game was originally announced for this date like 4 or 5 months ago, I think. Like it was definitely a press release. Like it was very early this year, if not very, very late last year. Is that right, Donald?
It was announced in the aftermath of the January Direct where they showed the new 3DS off.
Okay, so it was right after that. Yeah, and then did the Japan date get pushed back?
No, it's still slated to come out next week.
Okay, but it was always slated for that week.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so maybe they announced that preemptively. Here's the thing about Hatsune Miku games is that the reason why they ended up even getting localized in the first place was because they aren't that hard to localize to begin with. And I mean, what do I know? I'm not a game developer, but that always seems like it's the situation. Like the reason these games have been so easy to come out is because there's almost no text that needs to be translated. It's why some people can easily play import copies. Yeah, it's a lot of people before the games came out on Vita. A lot of people were buying import copies of the Vita games because there was almost nothing you needed to follow. You just needed to know what menu meant what, and you were 100% fine.
I was wondered about that because in Senran Kagura Bon Appetit, which is another rhythm game that uses J-pop, there is a shit ton of text. I mean, that game must have been a fairly large localization effort, but Hatsune Miku does not have that stuff. No story and no characters talking and stuff like that.
The ones on PS3 and Vita have no story whatsoever. Like there are like weird like micro storylines that a given song has, and like some of the text might need to be translated. But at least compared to most other games out there, the text in these games are nothing to worry about at all. So I bet what happened was the text was already in place. And the localization probably knew what they had to cover in January, but because of some scheduling issues, because maybe there were some issues on the Japanese side of things, and they had to wait for some new development X, Y, and Z, whatever. There maybe could have been some discrepancy between the two teams, and then how they expected it to release, it did not end up releasing that way. Anything could have happened. I'm guessing it wasn't some localization issue. Which
I've always wanted to play a Hatsune Miku game.
They are excellent. Do you like rhythm games, Zach?
Yeah, I do. Except I don't like the one that everybody else loves. I don't love that Secret Agent one.
Elite Beat
I think
8.
that game kind of blows. Yeah, Elite Beat
This one's
Agents.
not like that. This one is not like Elite
Good.
Beat Agents. This one is
I
more
know
like.
Donald's like, what?
I really love Elite Beat Agents, and it's like it's $4 at every GameStop, or was $4 at every
That's true.
GameStop
It
when they're
is.
still
Yeah.
carrying like DS games. It's not necessarily the most precise rhythm game, Elite Beat Agents
Yeah,
specifically.
that's what I don't like about it. And you're doing way too much drawing on the screen. Just let me tap or press buttons or something.
It has so much
I'm
style.
not
Though.
smart enough. I'm not smart enough to do everything.
Need to geek good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed to get good 10 years ago. I'm well past that point.
Yeah. It's understandable that if they have to push it back again. Why put it out in North America first when Japan is Miku Land? And if you want something really, really Japanese, Lord of Manga comes out the week after.
Okay. There you go. But yeah, just to recommend the Miku games. I would describe it like Dance Dance Revolution, but with buttons instead of like actual like dancing maneuvers. Like it's literally like a button lines up with uh, a thing, and then you have to press it at the right time. Sometimes you have to hold it. Sometimes you got to slide stuff on the Vita touchscreen in direction, or use one of the right stick or left stick. It's a very straightforward rhythm game, but I think the characters would be up your alley, Zach, and I think the music is really cutesy, catchy J-pop.
I know Miku and her cohorts.
Yeah, it's are you into those designs?
Remember when I said I'm getting 2 Sonico figures from Richard? Do you know who Sonico is?
No, Zach, I don't. Should I look her up right now?
Have you played? Yes, you should. But have you played Senran Kagura?
No. Are those good video games?
Yeah, they actually are pretty good. They're very fun.
Oh, you would love Hatsune Miku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you might want to go. Zach, sorry.
Yeah.
Zach, you'll want to go for the Vita version because the 3DS one, they've Miified them. So you're not going to get some of the...
Boo! All right, I'll get it on Vita. Next time it's on sale. Actually, I don't think it's that expensive to begin with. Maybe I'll just pick it up.
Right. No, those go on sale for like $10 to $20, like relatively frequently on Vita. And I'm pretty sure if you go to a GameStop or a Best Buy, the way things are priced now, you can get the second one for $20 at most, I think.
Let me tell you right now, if you go into my Best Buy, they're selling maybe 2 Vita games, and it's a sad state of affairs in my Best Buy.
Yeah, Best Buy's always been a sad state of affairs, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but GameStop would be a better chance. The only thing I'll say about Miku's character design is like she doesn't necessarily have like her appeal is not necessarily lewdness or that primal lust. It's more of like her being cute and innocent.
I know.
So I'm just warning you, depending on what you're looking for. She's one of the innocent ones.
I can deal with that.
Okay. Next story. Format and locations have been announced for qualifications to the 2015 Nintendo World Championships. So they announced this.
Is there an Alaska one?
No, Zach. If you're in Alaska and you want to qualify for the Nintendo World Championships, you're going to have to go to San Francisco, California.
Or Tacoma, Washington.
Or Tacoma, Washington.
I know where that is. I've been there before.
I will put aside the fact that we can't really call this a world championship unless you're applying the Major League Baseball definition because there's no events in Canada. But yeah, you've got 3 on the West Coast, northern central U.S., Texas, and 3 on the East Coast, I believe. Sorry. There's
3 count. Yeah.
3 West Coast, 3 Central, 2 East. Yeah. I'm getting the feeling that Best Buy found out about this around the same time we did.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it also probably takes more Nintendo employees and more specific Nintendo employees to do these events than it does for the E3 ones. Because I bet Mario Maker, you can
Yeah.
take any representative who gets a certain amount of training, the same amount of training someone at E3 would get, which I don't know how much it is. Maybe it's a lot, maybe it's a little, but probably not as much as it would to get specific judges for a world tournament on some level. Especially since this whole thing's crazy to me because not only is there 8 events to determine who the Nintendo player is in the world after a 25 period of not knowing who the best Nintendo player in the world is, but the game they're using to qualify who the best Nintendo player in the world is Ultimate NES Remix on the 3DS, which
Ah,
is a little
well,
silly. Using
that's
Mario
weird to
Bros.
me.
1, Mario Bros. 3, and Dr. Mario. That's what they're using for these qualifiers.
Yeah, Justin Berube had a really good editorial about this on the website. How you thought the luck in Puzzle and Dragons was going to drive you crazy. Imagine trying to
Yeah,
win a trip to LA with Dr. Mario hanging over your head.
yeah.
I, I got Ultimate NES Remix as my platinum reward. I tried that mode, and there was one time when I got 7 wasted tills in a row. When you're under that
Nice.
strict a time limit, you cannot afford for that to happen.
No.
And that's not a slight against Ultimate NES Remix. I think that is actually the best NES Remix game out of all of them. But just using this in this qualifier round for a world champion, which is in 8 cities, and only in the United States, it's, you know what? I bet it's going to lead to a really great show on June 14th when this happens. But leading up to it, this whole thing is just a little bit goofy.
I'm a little unclear of why they're using Mario 1 and 3.
Because that's the way
Just,
they
just,
did it in Ultimate NES Remix without actually figuring out in advance how they were going to have to do this.
just pick one of those games.
Yeah, they're. I know they said for the grand final in LA that they're going to have a variety of games for this thing, which is probably for the best. I don't know if they're going to do like one game per Nintendo console, but
Hmm.
there's part of me that really wishes this would end with just a knockdown drag out Pokemon fight.
Yeah, that would be cool.
The thing is, though, unfortunately, and I'm sure you both know
With
this.
rented teams on Stadium.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because I'm thinking about professional Pokemon players, and they're so disconnected from other like professional video
Oh,
game
yeah.
players. It's in the same way Pokemon's such a disconnected franchise from Nintendo. Pokemon competitively, it almost feels like it has a similar atmosphere to like competitive trading card game atmospheres than or that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
thing than anything else. Uh,
Yeah.
they better reveal a new game in the final round that people have to play, right?
That'd be kind of cool. I'd like that.
Or an
They gotta
HD
reveal something.
remake, like
Or an HD.
Super Mario Sunshine HD. There's where you announce it.
But it would have to be a game. See, the reason why I wanted to save it for now, but the reason why I don't know if they would reveal a Pokemon game at this thing is because it would have to be something that the players would then have to play each other after seeing it for the first time alongside everyone else. Like that's the way I think
Yeah.
this has to go. Is it has to be a game that the contestants then play for the world championship. That like I think that's the way it has to go. And unless it's like a new Pokemon Stadium, I don't know if that would work. Mario Sunshine, is there a way you could do that or Galaxy 3 competitively?
You could do the acapella levels for time in
Uh,
Mario Sunshine.
Hmm.
you could do a stand. I mean, they've got a coin race as the qualifier, so you could do like a coin race in Sunshine. Galaxy 3 could just be you've got to get a star. First person to get it is the world champion.
Yeah. The way this is going to turn out, we'll see on June 14th. They're either going to do an incredible job with it, and everyone's going to be so happy like they were with the Treehouse stuff last year, or it's going to be such a mild disappointment. And those are the two places. They're either going to do an okay, passable job that everyone will kind of forget after the fact, like the Smash Bros. Tournament last year,
Yeah,
or
it'll be
they're
that.
going to
It'll
do
be
an
that.
amazing job. You think so?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. And then our final story. Remember that Art Academy game that Nintendo announced like two E3s ago, and then it was like promised for like that year or the following year, and then for a year Art Academy just wasn't talked about at all, and then
And we just got
everyone
like a
forgot
set of
about it.
tools for the Miiverse.
Yeah, and which was only like $2 or $3, and that was the new Art Academy game for a while. Yeah, so that became a thing now. Art Academy Atelier, it got a title now after the famous Japanese franchise, and it's
Mm.
going to. Did you guys think that too? Did you guys think those Atelier games like as soon as you saw that title?
I, I
No.
I scrolled down a bit and saw the box art. It's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's coming to Europe on June 26th, and it is going to be coming to Australia. Donald, did they say when it's coming to Australia?
July 4th.
July 4th. Okay. So
Ah.
to celebrate American independence, Art Academy Atelier. And then it's going to be $29.99. It's regular price, and if you own Sketchpad, you can get it for 26 euros on the eShop. But it's going to have a disc-based version too. So Art Academy come out at some point, come out this summer because there's probably not much else this summer other than Yoshi.
No.
So this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Well, I have Art Academy on 3DS. I have the Pokemon one that I reviewed, and I just have a problem with these Art Academy games because the Wii U gamepad and the 3DS are not Wacom tablets. They don't have pressure sensitivity, so it's, I mean, for digital art, it's a real handicap.
Yeah, because you're actually into drawing as like a person, Zach, right?
Well, I used to be, not anymore.
But I've seen you. I think I've seen you do some real good doodles on a napkin once. And
Yes, I probably did do doodle napkins.
and so you were not impressed with Pokemon Art Academy as a way to learn to draw better.
It's a good way to learn like the tools of a digital art studio, like Illustrator or Corel or something. But once you move on to something like Illustrator or Corel with a touch-sensitive pen and pressure-sensitive screen or tablet, it's just the world's going to open up for you. It'll be like you've been drawing with rocks and sticks, and then all of a sudden you've got actual paintbrushes and things. So it's a good learning tool. It's a good learning tool for digital art.
Okay, and this one's going to be on the gamepad, which makes it sound like it's going to be a better situation than the 3DS ones, at least. And it's probably going to give us like, it's going to give us like one of the first real opportunities to do that thing that was referenced in the original Wii U gamepad reveal way back in like 2010 or 11. It was 2011, I think, when it was the girl, I think, just playing with the gamepad, and she was drawing that picture of Link, and like it was such a detailed drawing that it seemed like impossible to do on like a DS or 3DS. So maybe we can draw some Twilight Princess Links. That's our show for this week, everybody. Thanks for watching. That's Art Academy. That's the Nintendo World Championships. That's Hatsune Miku. That's Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. You can find Donald Terrio on Twitter at DonaldMick, DonaldMick. You can find Zach on Twitter at ZMILLER1902, ZMiller1902. You can find me on Twitter at CULAFIA. That is my last name, the first initial of my first name. See you next week at probably 9:30 p.m. Eastern again. We're still figuring out the final times, but probably 9:30, if not 10 o'clock. We'll try to stay in the same area. That's our show for this week. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.